What up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. This is Skylar and Pedro Matters. Check it out. And now I told you guys I was going to be doing a deck review. This is Pedro, by the way. And right here, something I just created not too long ago. Something I'm having real fun playing. Is it the strongest? I don't know. It's kind of strong. It's kind of got get a little power plays here and there. You know what I'm talking about. But we're just going to hop right into this deck listing and show you guys my commander. And as from the title, you guys can basically see we're going to do a deck tech for Gilda, Blade of Goldnight. Now, flying, first strike. If a source would deal damage to an opponent or a permanent, an opponent controls that source deals double that damage to that player instead. So basically, you got to keep in mind it's any player. So if an opponent swings at another opponent, that is doubled. So do not forget that. But if a source would deal damage to you or a permanent you control, prevent half that damage, round it up. Now, why do I like this commander? Two things. Double that damage, baby. When we hitting hard, and we hitting in the air. So we coming in hard. So if they don't stop us quick, we're just going to deal double damage. And, of course, the protection of if a source would deal damage to you or a permanent you control, prevent half that damage. So just having that protection, it's amazing to have. So, basically, I'm going to go ahead, go through this deck tech, and show you guys what we have. Get right into it. Let's do this. All right, let's get right into it. So, as you guys already seen, my commander, first of the 99, flying first strike. I read that already. Now we're just going to pop this open. I do not have any tokens or anything yet. And basically we're going to split this deck in half, make it easier to hold, and just go through every single card so you guys can see what we have. So, starting off with our first card, coming from the new set, Prototype. You may cast this spell with different mana cost, color, and size. It keeps his ability and types. Now, basically with this deck, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to cast Flying Angels. I'm trying to be able to protect myself, but most importantly, I'm trying to do damage. I'm trying to be swinging in hard and with a lot of angels. So this guy right here, even though he costs 6, if we do get him out for that 6, then he'll be a 5/4. But at the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature of your choice gains flying, vigilance, or lifelink until end of turn. Now with double damage, lifelink will gain you so much life. And typically angels around there kind of gain life anyway. We have a little bit of ways to gain life in this deck, as you guys will see, but we ain't got to worry about mostly about the flying. But the vigilance is important and the lifelink is important because we get to choose, and even if we cast it for its prototype, it still does have flying and all those right there. Sorry guys, got a phone call. Go ahead, put that on silent for the video. But now we got next card, a Mirror Angel. Now this one, 2 colorless, white, flying. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may create a 1/1 bird creature token. So basically what it's going to allow us to do is whenever we play land, gets another 1/1, that's not only a 1/1, it could possibly swing for 2. But if we lay down a couple of those, it'll start adding up, and the wider we are, the harder it is for people to block us. So next card right here, also from one of the newer sets, got the alternate artwork. Really like it. Kind of looks like she's in one of those glasses you see at the church and all that broken glass thing. But she has vigilance and trampled. This is Tori Devon. I don't even know. We're gonna call her Fury Rider. She a rider. But whenever Tori the rider attacks, all the other attacking creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. So basically everything we have is going to get pumped up. Other red, the attacking creatures you control get trampled. So everything, if they do have a flyer, if we're bigger than them, we're going to run right over them. And that is important because trample and double damage, anything that goes through will be dealing double damage. So, and untap each other attack and white creature you control. So basically, majority of this deck is white. Some cards are red, but this card benefits both of them. And that having basically vigilance for our white attacking creatures, being able to untap them so we can possibly block with them, allows us to do a bunch of damage without having the fear of a blocker. Now, this is not an angel. Now, humans will become angels. But this right here, reason why he is in this deck, white does not have a lot of ramp, does not have a lot of ways to utilize other ways of the deck. So basically this guy is a first strike. Most importantly, what he is in here for is you may look at the top card of your library at any time. As long as an opponent controls more lands than you, you may play lands from the top of your library. So being red and white, not being able to ramp like green and other colors, we have to take advantage of looking at the top of our library and playing lands from the top of our library. So most likely in a 4-way commander game, somebody's bound to have more land than you. So if they do, that's even perfect. We got a nice little plains there. Herald of War. Now, Herald of War, flying. Whenever Herald of War attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Angel spells and human spells you cast cost 1 less for each +1/+1 on Herald. So, allows us to get her stronger, stuff cheaper, more stuff we can cast, more damage we can do. Evolving Wilds, just to mana fix anything we have. If we get red or white, we don't really need to play too expensive lands. I do have a shock land in here, but I have had that for a while. Now this is an amazing card. Not very strong, not really anything like that. It's just keyword. I like exile all creatures. So ain't destroying, so they're not going to go to the graveyard and they're just gone. But mostly why we got it, angel artwork, looks amazing, fits the theme of the deck. And has Delirium, create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying if there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard. So possibly that effect can happen when we have it. 6 mana, so it's going to be a little late game, but as one border wipe we have. And here we go. Bishop of Wings. Whenever an angel enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 4 life. Whenever an angel you control dies, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. Another gain life outlet, and basically another angel you control dies. So if something dies, we get a 1/1 white spirit. And just adding to our board, making it more wide, so that way we can overpower our enemies, our friends, frenemies, whatever you want to call them. And this card, I really love the artwork. Have this in foil. Like I said, some of these cards in here are not going to be the strongest. This isn't the strongest angel deck you can possibly make. This is not $1,000. This ain't none of that. This is just a fun deck to play that looks pretty and is actually kind of strong in my opinion. Now, create a 4/4 white angel creature, angel warrior creature token with flying and vigilance. If the spell was foretold, create X of those tokens instead. So most likely, we're going to foretell this, pay 2 colorless, put it to the side, wait until we can able to get a board wipe or something, and maybe all our angels get taken away, and we foretold this and I had put it to the side earlier turn, maybe turn 2, somewhere around there, and now it's turn 10, 11, 12. They wiped our board of what we had, and then next turn we just get our board back. Nice little saving thing. Now this angel right here, Skirmisher. Love the artwork, love the armor. I just love angels, and this is one reason why I built this deck. And basically flying. Of course, a lot of angels have flying. At the beginning of each combat, choose first strike, vigilance, or lifelink. Creatures you control gain that ability. So unlike the other card where it only gives it to one, this one gives it to creatures you control. So every single creature we have will either get first strike, vigilance, or lifelink. And as you can see, 4/4s, creating 4/4 angels, creating 1/1 birds and spirits, dealing double damage. It's a lot of damage there, a lot of life to gain. But Magic ain't always won by life, but this allows us to stay alive long enough. And basically, red, white, Sacred Foundry. You already know. Reflecting Pool. Typical Commander stuff. Angel of Ruins. 5 colorless, a white and a white, so 7 total. Flying. Also as an artifact creature. When Angel of Ruin enters the battlefield, exile up to 2 artifacts or enchantments. So has plane cycling in case we don't need her. We discard, go get us some planes. Because like I said, sometimes we don't have the right color at the right time. And not saying that my mana is messed up, it's just Magic. Sometimes you just have bad hands no matter what you do. But this allows us to minimize that possibility of having bad hands. And so far, no bad hands with this deck. We'll do a deck. We'll do a little play hand after, and basically exile 2 artifacts or enchantments. So another way of removal. God's willing. Love the artwork here, and God created angels, so God's willing. Target creature you control. Basically, this commander right here. This is what we're mostly going to be trying to protect. So target creature you control gains protection from the color of your choice until end of turn, and you scry one. So we'll be able to look at the top card, change it to what we want, and protect our commander, so that way we can continue doing double damage. Now, look at this baby. One of the only planeswalkers that can create angels, Sarah the Benevolent. Legendary planeswalker. Creatures you control for flying get +1/+1 until end of turn. That's for a +2. Now her -3. Create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying and vigilance. Now that right there, as soon as we cast her, either we're going to create that 4/4 or we're going to plus her up. And a lot of our creatures have flying already, so it's just a +1/+1 until end of turn, depending on what we want to do. But most likely she comes out and we just hit that -3 and create an angel. You get an emblem with, if you control a creature damage that would reduce your life total to less than 1, reduces it to 1 instead. So we cannot die as long as we control a creature. And little protection right there, but as much life as we're gaining, I don't know if we're going to reach 0. So Amelia Shepherd, real nice card. Another landfall ability. Flying. Whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, you may return a target non-land permanent from your graveyard to your hand. That's all nice and dandy, but it gets even spicier. Now we play plains. We got white. If that land is a plains, you may return it to you may return that non-land permanent card to the battlefield instead. So that right there, being able to be a plains and something to hit the battlefield, as much ammo as we have in here, even if something dies and we're able to bring it back, and that is each time a land is played, so we can possibly play another land, then that'd be even more crazier. So of course a path to exile, removal, exile target creature, its controller may search for a land card. Put that onto the battlefield tab. Everybody knows what that does. Chroma's Vengeance, another card for the artwork. Real looks nice. Destroy all artifact, creatures, and enchantments. So, have the angel just blasting everybody away. Following by another border wipe, Cleansing Nova. All 3 of my border wipes I believe I play are just angel artwork. Are they the best? No, you can have other better border wipes, but going with the theme of the deck, this is what I went with. So, it just matters on how you want to play and if you're having fun. That's all that really matters. Don't have to be the biggest, baddest boss around. But this is a nice mountain right here one of my friends gave me, and it looks amazing. Really looks amazing. So, kind of threw it in there, and yeah, Real nice land. Now let's get into this baby. Sigarda's Vanguard. She has flash. I love creatures with flash because then I could keep land open and possibly scare people thinking I have something when in reality I'm just trying to flash in an angel. So whenever Sigarda's Vanguard enters the battlefield or attacks, so she has 2 triggers, enters the battlefield or attacks. Choose any number of creatures with different power. Those creatures gain double strike. So double strike, double damage. If we swing in for 5, that's 10. She has double strike. That's 20. That's 20 damage right there just for one creature. So different powers, 5, 3, that right there, 26 damage. Kind of crazy. Kind of crazy. And we just have a nice little plains, not the plains, but Castle Ardenval. It's a land, and when it enters the battlefield, tapped unless you control the plains, adds a plains. It's for 2 colorless and 2 white. Create a 1/1 white human creature token. Now this is just in case we need to create a human. So here we go, guys. Resplendent Angel. Flying at the beginning of each end step. If you gain 5 or more life this turn, create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying and vigilance. For 3 colorless, 3 white until end of turn, Resplendent Angel gets +2/+2 and gains lifelink. Creatures you control get +1/+1. Nice little angel artwork, 1 colorless, 2 white. Not too bad. Indomitable Archangel, flying. Artifacts you control have Shroud as long as you control 3 or more artifacts. Now this is just in case we have a couple soul rings out. A soul ring out, a couple other artifacts. Things just to protect. And got a plains. One thing I do playing here is Vanquisher Banner. So of course we're going to choose angels. Creatures of the chosen type get +1/+1. But one thing I love about this card is it allows us to draw every time we play an angel. So whenever you cast a creature spell of the chosen type, angel, draw a card. Allows us to draw. The more you draw, the more possible it is for you to win. Curse Mirror, 2 colorless and a red. You add a mountain, and as it enters the battlefield, you may have it become a copy of any creature on the battlefield until the end of turn, except it has haste. So not only does this tap for mana, it comes in as a creature, and it has haste and can swing. So if our commander is out, it can come out as another copy of another creature we have that is not legendary, because the legendary rule will still apply, and one of them will have to be sacrificed. So something that's not legendary, swing in, deal double damage, turns back into an artifact, and turns us into a little mana source. So right here, enters the battlefield tap, Needle Spires, add a red colorless or a white, and it just becomes a 2/2 red and white elemental creature with double strike until end of turn. It's still a land. Double strike. So possible to hit for 8 out of nowhere if people forget our lands, because a lot of people do not go off lands. Now I do run 4 border wipes. Thought it was 3, but Hour of Revelation, 3 colorless, 3 white. For 3, this spell costs 3 less to cast if there are 10 or more non-land permanents on the battlefield. Destroy all non-land permanents. So that is everything, basically. Everything. Non-land permanents. So, Sublime Archangel, creature angel, 2 colorless, a white. Flying Exalted. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, that creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Other creatures you control have Exalted. So this is just in case we're swinging in with just one creature. It's going to get +1/+1 until end of turn. And every single creature we have will have that. Now this, a little spicy card, a little annoyance to the community. Authority of Councils. Creatures your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. Now that is major for us. Major for us. If they come into the battlefield tapped and our angels can just swing in freely and not have to worry about it, that is a lot of damage happening quick. So that is what we're trying to do. We're trying to play aggro, trying to shut people down. We're just trying to swing and have fun. Either block me or stop me, or you ain't gonna, you know what I mean. But also, whenever a creature enters the battlefield under opponent's control, you gain a life. So not our creatures, but an opponent's creatures. Now this card, Adaptive Automation. Choose a creature type, Angel. Now it does not gain flying, but we have other things that may give it flying in our deck. But basically this card is a construct in addition to its other type. So it's going to be an angel construct. Other creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1. So that just allows us to boost our angels, get them a little stronger, possibly hit. And like I said before, don't have a lot of humans in here, but this is another one, and mostly because of what it does. So Knight of the White Orchid, 2 white, so only 2 mana white. First strike, whenever Knight of the White Orchid enters the battlefield, if an opponent controls more lands than you, you may search a library for a plains card, put it onto the battlefield. So allowing us to search for a plains and put it onto the battlefield, that is an extra land we can play that turn. And this is one of our multicolored, dual colored creatures. This is a regular creature, so that artifact we had can become a copy of this. And basically Fireman Avenger, whenever Fireman Avenger and at least 2 other creatures attack, Fireman Avenger deals 3 damage to target creature or player, and you gain 3 life. So not only is this damage going to be hitting, we have a possible another 3 damage, but if it gets doubled, that is 6 damage and 6 damage, so 12. So we're trying to really hurt our opponents, and yeah, we're going to keep it moving. We're just trying to do damage, trying to have fun. Now this card, it's not the strongest, not the best, but artwork follows our theme, and Skylar Splendor, 2 colorless, 2 white. As it enters the battlefield, you note your life total. So basically, let's say this is my turn and I start at 37. At the beginning of your upkeep, draw a card if your life total is greater than or equal to the last noted life total for Skylar Splendor, and then note your life total. Whenever you cast a white spell, you gain 1 life. So we're gaining a lot of life, a lot of different places. We can make our creatures have lifelink, so most likely our starting life is not going to be the same at the beginning of our next upkeep, unless everybody swings at us, which most likely with all the angels we're going to be playing and doing, you're going to become a target quick, and this lady does not hit the field until you're ready to do damage. Do not play her just to get her killed. That is a waste of a turn. She comes out when it's safe, when we're ready to swing. Till then, they have other things they can worry about, like my Aurelia, Exemplar of Justice, Flying Mentor. Whenever a creature attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on target attacking creature with lesser power. So this just allows our creatures who are weaker to become stronger and deal more damage, possibly deal double damage with our commander. So the stronger we are, the harder we hit. We ain't playing around here. At the beginning of combat, on your turn, choose up to 1 target creature you control until the end of the turn. That creature gets +2/+0, gains trample if it's red, and gains vigilance if it's white. So most likely our commander or somebody else who is multicolored, which we have a couple of in here, will be able to benefit from both. But if not, most likely it's going to be the plain side, which, as you see, gains vigilance. So we're able to block. Lyra, Dawnbringer, 3 colorless, 2 white, legendary creature angel, flying, first strike, lifelink, gain more life, another lifelink, but got a little +1/+1 over here for our angels, and they also have lifelink. So not only does she have lifelink, she gives everything lifelink. Double damage, lifelink. I'm telling you, you're gonna have to have multiple dice or what? Good old Mind Stone, 2 colorless, add a colorless. Mana rampant early, trying to get moving quick. Now this is a nice white card. I do not have the other one that is for the red. But if you control a commander, you may cast this spell without paying its mana cost. Creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. So basically our commander is out. People think they're safe. We're all tapped out. Nope. Get to play it for free. You thought you was going to destroy her. Now if they exile it, that's something different. But we indestructible, baby. Now this card. Ended up pulling this card out of a pack. Smothering Tithe. Whenever an opponent draws a card, that player may pay 2. If the player doesn't, you create a colorless treasure artifact token with sacrifice this artifact. Add 1 mana of any color. Mana rampant. Mana rampant. Like crazy. Love the artwork. Spitting out the gold. And this card right here is real nice. Like I said, I don't play cards for the strength. Some of them I do, but when I build a deck, I like it to look pretty, like it to have pretty cards, and this right here is from beautiful card, 1993. My brother-in-law gave this to me, so with his spirit in this angel deck, can't nobody stop us. Flying, vigilance, 4/4, really does nothing else. But look at that artwork. Look at that artwork. You telling me this ain't nice? Come on. Alright, let's go ahead, push on through this. Boros Charm, you already know, deal 4 damage to target planeswalker, permanents you control, gain indestructible until end of the turn, or target creature gains double strike. Get to choose one for red and white. Now this right here, Helio's Intervention, another removal. Choose one, destroy X target artifacts or enchantments. Target player gains twice X life. Angel of Serenity, another way to remove. She has flying. Exile up to 3 other target creatures from the battlefield and or graveyard. So if somebody's graveyard recurring and you don't want them to have something, just exile that and they will not be able to get it until Angel of Serenity leaves the field. Return the exile cards to the owner's hand. So if somebody has a flickering deck, you can flicker this and constantly exile something else. But this is just a hand fix. Thrill of Possibility as an additional cost to cast this spell. Discard a card you don't really need and draw 2 cards. Possibly it'll help you out and get you something you really need. Sometimes you really just need card draw, and that card comes in handy all the time, and that artwork is just amazing. So Angel of Finality. When Angel of Finality enters the battlefield, exile all cards from a graveyard. This is just in case we have no maximum hand size. And good old Boris. Nice little plains. Beautiful. We're just going to go through the islands. Now this is searchable through lands because it is a mountain and a plains. Hideaway. We'll take a look at this one. But basically, add a red. For red, you may play the exile card without paying its mana cost if an opponent was dealt 7 or more damage this turn. We're definitely going to deal 7 or more damage, but basically Hideaway, if I didn't read it, this land enters the battlefield tapped, and when it does, look at the top 4 cards of your library, exile 1 face down, and put the rest on the bottom in any order. So basically you get you a nice little card, whatever it is. I even put a land under there one time because I needed mana. You guys know about that. Needed mana. Kind of crazy. But get into this next one. Ray of Dawnbringer, 6 colorless, 3 white, one of our higher angels. Flying, at the beginning of your upkeep, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. That is why she is that high. But she allows us to bring stuff. So if she's out there and our commander is out there, we have 2 threats. If they kill the commander, then you can just bring it back with her. But most likely if they're killing the commander, they're going to kill her as well. And you're just trying to protect your stuff. So this is a utility land. Castle Embereth. Enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a mountain. Most likely we'll control a mountain somewhere. And add a mountain for colorless and 2 mountains. Creatures you control get +1/0 until end of turn. Now check this out. Got a double card. Response and Resurgence. Response deals 5 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. That's nice. Well, basically what we have is the other side. Creatures you control get first strike and vigilance until end of turn. After this main phase, there's an additional combat phase followed by the additional main phase. So we're having multiple combats. If we have double damage out, if we have angels out, I'm telling you, bro, they ain't gonna stand a chance. Now this Clifftop Retreat enters tap unless you control a mountain or plains. Nice little Japanese mountain. Another plains. Nice little Japanese plains. And this is another thing for mana ramping. Whenever it enters the battlefield, search your library for up to 2 I can't even speak. 2 basic playing cards. Reveal them, put them into your hand, and shuffle. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under an opponent control, if that opponent controls more lands than you, you may put a land from your hand onto the battlefield. So if we're falling behind and we're drawing cards and we're getting land now, and this is out, most likely we're going to be able to play anytime somebody else is play. So that'll allow us to catch back up. This enters the battlefield tapped and just adds 1 mana of any color to your commander's identity. When you cast a creature spell that shares a creature type with your commander, scry 1. Always remember to scry one. Always remember to scry. That comes in handy. Scrying can be that one card that you didn't need and one card you didn't need under if you forgot. And coming through this deck, I'm realizing I'm having two of the same lands. And it looks like I have two of the same lands. Good thing I did this deck tech. So we're going to go ahead and change this land out. Probably just for a regular mountain for now. But now we know we have two of them in the deck. And yeah, we could just go ahead and take it out. Now, as you guys see, the breadwinner chicken dinner, the baby of the deck, Avacyn Angel of Hope. If she is out, she is a threat. Flying, vigilance, indestructible. Other permanents you control have indestructible. So if she gets out, she's not countered. Most likely, unless we're getting exiled, we're kind of safe, honestly. And this is why I run exile stuff in my deck, so that way I can get around indestructible, get around hexproof, like stuff like that when it says all. Like, that's very important. And got a good old command tower, planes. Battlefield Forge, add a colorless, add red white, deal 1 damage to you. Got another planes, looks like we're hitting the land base. And Agus Angel, flying. When it enters the battlefield, another target permanent gains indestructible for as long as you control her. So most likely we're going to choose our commander or another threat we have out there if our commander is not out there. And this is our secondary commander, Aurelia, the war leader. These are interchangeable commanders. This deck will run either way with both of them. And good thing about her, she has haste, flying, and vigilance. And whenever she attacks for the first time each turn and tap all creatures you control after this phase, there is an additional combat phase. She is real nice. She is real nice. Now got more land. Thran Dynamo for 4 colorless. Add 3 colorless. Little mana ramp. Scry 1. Got some land. Got some mana. Courtier's Seraph. If a source an opponent controls will deal damage to you, prevent 1 of that damage. Nice little arcane signet. Sunblast Angel. When it enters the battlefield, destroy all tapped creatures. Soul Ring. You guys already know what Soul Ring does. Return to dust, exile target artifact or enchantment. If you cast a spell during your main phase, you may exile up to 1 other target artifact or enchantment. So it allows us to remove 2 and 2. So add colorless. Target creature you control gains double strike, another land for utility. Now this is just like the other card, but it's whenever an opponent casts their second spell each turn, you create a treasure token. The other one is whenever an opponent draws, you may pay 2, or they may pay 2, or you draw a card. So the other one's stronger. This one's just another way to get a treasure token. Mana ramping, prismatic lens, really like it. 2 colorless, add a colorless. I just like mana ramping, add a colorless, and if you add 1 mana of any color, spend this mana to cast a creature spell of the chosen type. You're going to choose a creature type, and basically you're going to choose angels and be able to cast anything with angels. Target creature gets +2/0 and gains vigilance and haste until end of turn for a red and a white. Slayer's Stronghold. Lands are very important in Magic. People sleep on lands. My lands win me games. Boros, Signet, 2 colorless, a white, or not a white, 2 colorless to cast, 1 colorless to tap, add a red and a white. And Shared Anomaly, whenever a creature you control attack, it gets +1/+0 for each attacking creature that shares a creature type with it. So of course we're playing angels, and the amount of angels we have is going to be adding up. Everything adds up, and if it's double damage, it's double that. And another landfall trigger, whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, you may exile target non-land permanent other than Admonition Angel. I just butchered that. But basically, whenever she leaves the battlefield, return all cards exiled onto the battlefield. So while she's on the battlefield, she will be removing stuff, so people are going to see her as a threat and try and get rid of her as soon as possible. Coming up to the last couple cards. Seraph Skyblade. You may pay white and tap 4 untapped creatures you control with flying rather than pay this spell's mana cost. Flying, lifelink. Other creatures you control have flying Other creatures you control with flying have indestructible. So basically it gives our commander and basically anything else we have indestructible. She is a 7/7, 4 colorless, 3 white for 7. And lifelink again, we gain life everywhere. Another hideaway card, except this one. You may play the exile card without paying his mana cost if you attacked with 3 or more creatures. So most likely we will have 3 or more creatures. This guy, Mangora, the Diplomat, lifelink, legendary human cleric, 3 humans in this deck, I believe. Rest are angels out of like 30 something creatures. High creature count because we're trying to basically see angels in our opening hand and swing. But this guy has lifelink, which is very important. And basically, whenever an opponent attacks with creatures, if 2 or more of those creatures are attacking you and a planeswalker you control, draw a card. Whenever an opponent casts their second spell each turn, draw a card. So drawing card is very important, like I said. You want to win. You want to get as much cards into your hand as possible. And yeah, bada bing. That's how you do it. Now let's see. We're going to do another video. This one's dropping at 36. Going to do a test hand video. Let's see how this goes.